This is Timothy Leary, and I'm very happy, I'm ecstatic, I'm blissful. Why? Because this is the first time that I've had a chance to do a recording of a very important book called the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Now, I first wrote this version of this ancient book in 1965. It's 28 years ago. I was the head of a Harvard research, a large research project at Harvard University in which we were studying altered states. We call them visionary experiences. We call them psychedelic experiences. But to tell you the truth, don't tell anybody else that I told you, we did not know what we were doing. Because there's nothing in Western psychology that tells you about the parts of your brain and your consciousness that are there. We were very lucky, though, because, as it always happens in life, at the right time, if you're ready, the right people come. And to Harvard University there came Allen Ginsberg and William Burroughs and swamis and gurus from all around the world. And they said to us, "Hey, Timothy, you don't know what you're doing. This is not a medical drug. This is not Valium. This is not a psychiatric tool. This is ancient experiences which have been used for thousands of years for spiritual purposes, for illumination, for enlightenment. There have been many, many books and thousands of teachings." So I said, "Yeah. What book? What book? What book?" They said, "Well, the best book is the Tibetan Book of the Dead." I said, "The Dead? Tibetan Book of the Dead, what's that?" I read it in English, and I was amazed to discover that this book, written 3,000 years ago, had the stages of consciousness. It had the circuits of the brain, described 49 steps that you would go through in order to reach what they called the white light of the void, illumination. Now, today, I'm very happy because for the first time I can read to you. Key points of our version, a new version of the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Now this is a new version because in the last 28 years we've learned a lot about the brain. We didn't know anything about the brain. So we're going to use high-tech sound effects. This is a high-tech neurological reversion of one of the most powerful and wonderful books in human history, the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Dear friend, the time has come. The time has come for you to seek new levels of reality. Your robot game and your robot ego, they're about to cease. Now, you're about to be set face to face with the clear light of your brain. You will become your brain. In the ego-free, illuminated state, the human state, where all things are like the void and cloudless sky, and the naked, spotless intellect of your brain is like a laser flashlight in a transparent vacuum. Dear friend, at this moment, open your brain, open your mind, open your soul. That which is called robot death is coming to you. Remember, this is now the hour of liberation, of reanimation. You will be floating through chaos. You will be tumbling, swirling through the complexity of your brain. Take advantage of this temporary state of chaos to obtain liberation, to obtain enlightenment, illumination. Concentrate on the unity of all living things, all living beings. Open up to the clear light. Flash on your brain. Beam in. Open up to attain global understanding and love. Now listen. If you cannot maintain the flow, the bliss of the illuminated, if you cannot deal with the chaos, and if you are confused, if you are frightened, you may want to scream, "Get me back! Get me back! Get me back to my old robot!" But remember, the chaos which you now experience, the visions, the insights, will teach you about the true nature of the universe within and the true nature of the chaos outside. The veil of your normal, routine perception will be torn from your eyes. Remember the unity of all energy. Enjoy the bliss of the clear light. The chaos of this experience. The chaos of this experience will guide you through your new life to come. You may feel confused. Good. Then call upon the names and the memory of your friends. Think of the person you most admire. Try to float through and enjoy the experience of the clear light, the tumbling, dazzling light of the chaos within your brain. Remember, lights, sounds, this is energy, energy of your life. Ever-changing, surging, chaos of color may engulf your vision. Good. Chaos is good. Because chaos is the normal state of your brain and of the universe. This is the life process. You cannot understand. Do not fear chaos. Surrender to the complexity. Join it. It is part of you. You are part of it. Remember also, beyond the restless flowing electricity of light, the ultimate reality of the cosmos, of the galaxy, black hole, which the Buddhist calls the void. Your own brain, before it is formatted by your mind, possesses no form. It is naturally, gloriously chaotic. Chaos, complexity is good. It is enlightenment, illumination, revelation. Enjoy the radiance, the movements that you will experience when you close your eyes. Is the light of life from which we all come. Join it. It is part of you. Beyond the alternating currents of light is the peaceful silence of the void. Flash on. Dark. Soft. Off. Flash on. Dark. Quiet. Off. Quiet bliss beyond all change. The Buddha smile. This void is not nothingness. It is chaos. It's complexity. The chaos is the beginning and the end. Shining, thrilling, blissful, ever-changing, diamond consciousness, dazzling, spinning, whirling. Yes, this chaos is the state of perfect enlightenment. Your own consciousness, shining, void, shining, inseparable, great body of the galaxy of radiance. There is no birth, there is no death, there is no dying, there is no being born. You are now experiencing the immutable light, which the Tibetans call Buddha Amitabha. The Hindus call it Maya, the continuous play of forms, ever changing, ever changing. The awareness of the formless beginning. Listen. Knowing this is enough. Recognize the chaos of your own consciousness to be your Buddhahood. Keep this recognition, and you will float through the ever-changing state of the many eternal divine minds of the Buddha. Dear friends, you will now experience mind transcendence. You will learn how to leave your robot mind. Hey, you are not the only one. This robot death comes to everyone at some time. You're lucky to have this freely given rebirth experience. Warning. Do not cling in fondness and weakness to your old conditioned robot self. Even though you try to cling to your mind, you're losing control. You can gain nothing by struggling with the chaos of reality. Please, listen to me. Do not be detached. Do not hang on. Do not be uptight. Be courageous. Be strong. Remember, whatever fear or terror you may experience now, they have happened before. Do not forget these basic words. Go forward. Embrace the wild complexity of chaos. Play with the chaos. Surf the brainwaves of chaos. Don't get uptight. Hey, my friend. Slap up. Come on. Loosen up. Dive joyfully to the endless oceans within your brain. Inside your brain, with your eyes closed, the visions come. Dazzling, glorious, radiant, awesome. Streams of vibrations overwhelming you. It's wrong. Hey, rejoice. Celebrate the nature of your own true nature. This is what wisest women and men have wanted. These moments, confrontation, basic imagery of the universe. Right. Listen. From the radiance of your own brain, natural sound of reality, reverberating, thousands, whirling, spinning, dizzy, lights and sound. This is natural living in your own right platform. Have courage. Come on. Rejoice. Smile. Laugh. These aberrations, these fears, are just your own brainwaves, your own thought. Recognize your own thought. You forget your preparation. Forget my word. lights, the confusion, the sounds will awe you, the rays will terrify you, you will be overwhelmed with paranoia. Oh, fear, the people around you will bewilder you. Remember, key to the teaching, old friend, these oceans of brilliant chaos, they have not come from somewhere outside yourself. They have not come from hell, from the dead. They come from within you. They come from the sun above you. They shine upon you. The illumination, the enlightenment, revelations. They're not from somewhere else. They have existed from eternity, within the life process. Know there to be your own nature, key to illumination, the key to enlightenment, the key to serenity during this period of the 10,000 visions is this. Come on, baby, relax, readjust, merge yourself with it, make love to the universe, blissfully accept the wonders of your own creativity, of your own brain. Be neither attached, do not hang on, nor be afraid. Neither be attracted, nor repulsed. These glorious visions exist only within your mind and your brain. Listen carefully. You are now escaping your robot-obedient mind. Warning! 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 Radiant energy which comes from all living form shoots forth, engulfs you. Warning! Engulfs you with a light so bright you'll hardly be able to look at it. Whirling form. Listen. Do not fear. Oh, that is good. This is the source energy, which has been radiating for billions of years, ever manifesting itself in different forms. Yeah, except do not try to intellectualize it. Merge with it, flow through it, lose yourself in it, fuse in the halo of rainbow light, float to the core of the energy dance. Your eyes, look, your eyes are now unfocused. Your eyes are wide, dilated. Your eyes are the windows of your brain. They're opening. Dear friends, listen. The life flow is now whirling through you. Endless parade of forms and sounds. Dazzlingly brilliant, ever-changing. Don't try to control it. Flow with it. Experience the ancient cosmic myths of creation and manifestation. Big Bang, slow down. Don't try to understand now. There's plenty of time for that later. Merge. Let it flow through you. Nothing you have to do. There is no need to have to think. Great lessons of evolution, creation, reproduction, right here in front of you. If you try to stop them, you may fall into hell worlds. Oh, and miseries generated by your own robot mind. Keep faith in the life flow.
The process of exchange. The universe is a great business, man or woman. That is the law of nature, the law of exchange. When you pay someone attention, you are in essence giving them energy. So we have to change our focus to stop absorbing other people's energy.
Trust your friends and your companions on this great journey. Merge with your friends in the rainbow light. Float down the river. Creative forums with your friend. Nobly born. Dear friends, listen carefully. Can you hear? Listen, can you hear the wave structure of the world around you? Can you see? Can you see everything dissolving into energy vibration? Look, and you will tune in on the electric dance of energy. There are no longer things, persons, thoughts. Only the whirling flow of particles. Flow under the stream of wave rhythm. Hey, there is no need to talk. There is no need for act. Let your brain become a receiving set for the radio. All interpretations are products of your old robot mind. Think, thought, name. Dispel them. Have no fear. Exult. Rejoice. Exult in the natural power of your naked eyeballs, of your brain, the wisdom of your own electricity.
A process of exchange. The universe is a great business man or woman. That is the law of nature, the law of exchange. When you pay someone attention, you are in essence giving them energy. So we have to change our focus to stop absorbing other people's energy.
Abide in a state of quiet silence as the three-dimensional world fragments around you. You may feel panic. Oh, poor brother. You want the heavy, dull world of objects. You want to hang on. Fear not. Fear not the transparent radiant plasma wave. Now, turn off your mind. Now, watch quiet. Listen. Receive the message. Experience primal forms of the universe. Oh, nobly born friends, listen. Now, here you are the magic theater of heroes and demons, mythical superhuman figures, moving pictures, heroes and heroines, demons, beautiful goddesses, brave heavenly warriors, giants, angels, bodhisattvas, dwarfs, crusaders, little elves, nobles, saints, sorcerers, wizards, magicians. Look. Maybe there's the Lotus Lord of Dance. The old man. The divine child. The trickster. The shapeshifter. The tamer of monsters. Other God. Now witch. The Moon King, Wanderer. Yes, the whole divine theater of heroes and villains of figures representing the ancient stories, the ancient legends, the ancient realm of human knowledge of the past. They come floating up, their old, wide reincarnation. No people get them. They're all within. Devils and the angels. You are mine. You're mine. Be the master magician of them all. Learn how to operate your mind. Learn to play these. Operate your mind. You design the ground. You write the script. These figures are all parts, aspects of yourself. Your mind, either master, wizard, great film director of all time. Hey, the whole fantastic comedy takes place within you. Operate your mind. Oh, don't attach Don't become frightened. Don't become obedient to the king. Remember the teachings. You are the director. Your mind, control and change. Your mind can write the script. Learn to operate your own mind. Oh, my nobly born friends, now you must listen carefully. After the perfect visualize the first part, then we have the screen and the slow visions of the second part. Now, you enter the second Bardo nightmares. Nightmares. Bad drift. Recognize them. Hey, they're your own thought forms made visible and audible. Here are products of your own mind. That's good. That means you are coming closer to liberation. You can see the wrathful victories. You can see the nightmare. You can change it. You can direct it. Good. No harm can come. Your mind creates it. Your mind can change. These nightmare visions are your old friends. You've known them for thousands. Welcome. Hey, come in, nightmare. Come in, evil devil vision. Welcome. Hey, merge with them. Join them. Dance with them. Lose yourself with them. They're yours. Whatever you see, no matter how strange it is, remember, they come from you. Hold on to that knowledge.
The nature of this new wave is one of mass awakening. An awakening that will affect even the most sleepy of sleepers. Maybe not awake to the full awareness of our new paradigm, but at least make them compatible to live in it and not get freaked out.
Operate your mind. Direct your own mind movements. You obtain liberation. But if you do not recognize it, you will suffer torture and punishment. So what? More of that. More self-punishment. You want to be a victim. All right. We'll give you one more chance. 5 minutes to be a victim. Remember, all these devils, all this suffering, this too, these two, are simply mirrors of your own mind. They're immaterials. None of the peaceful, or none of the wrathful visions. The blood-drinking demons, the machines, the monsters, the robots, the devils, the Schwarzeneggers, the vampires, the angels. Your mind is created. Your eyes are filming. Remember, and your fears dissipate. Remember to operate your own mind. Live life in heart. Remember my word. Remember my word. Live life current. Dear friends, listen well. You are now entering the third bardo.
To shift the magnetic frequency of Mother Earth.
Watch out. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, watch out. Your former robot ego is beginning to operate again. Oh, watch out. Do not struggle to figure things out. If through weakness you are attached to action and thinking, you'll have to wander amid the world of game existence. You will suffer the next half hour. You'll be confused. Come on. Yeah. Relax your restless mind.
Relics are said to contain information about the history of our planet and the future of mankind.
Oh, yeah.
The skulls generate the energy field that activates human consciousness in a way that expands our perceptions of reality.
You're underexposed. Forms like the second part of child. Here. Your mind must loosen up. It's rest without distraction. Hey, there's nothing to do. There's no place to go. There's nothing to think. Look back. You remember. Look back before we had the unobstructed, unobscured, primordial, bright, void state. The ocean of chaos within your brain.
When the spirits of the skulls are ceremonially awakened, ancient wisdom that has been preserved in a crystalline matrix for eons, enters the unified field and fills the collective consciousness with all of the knowledge of everything that has happened on the planet in the last 26,000 years, perhaps beyond.
You remember the liberation. If you're unable to relax your mind, remember your friend. Look across the room. Wave at your friend. Think of all your friends with love and trust. See your friends. They're over your head. They're surrounding your mind. Yo, yes, look. There they are. Your friends look. Now. Now, dear friends, you're beginning to feel the power. Yes, you can perform miraculous feats. You can communicate with extrasensory power. You have telepathy. You're Superman. You're Superwoman. You can change shape, size, and number. Yes, you can traverse space and time instantly. You're the director of the science fiction movies. Get it? You can be telepathic, but you don't use it. Don't try to use these powers. Don't go running around the neighborhood telling everyone what you do. Don't run down the street saying how wise you have become. Remember, the third Bardo, you're experiencing now. Makes you feel powerful. This is wishful thinking. You are now going through the period of re-entry into the normal world. You have just experienced the power of your brain. But you cannot suddenly go back into the world and expect the rest of the world to fall down and listen to you. Hey, come on. Keep your sense of humor. You'll experience what millions of us have experienced in the past. The glory and the wonder and the power within. But come on, Superman. Have a laugh. Come on, Super Giggle. We've all been there. We've all had to. Come on, Supergirl. Do it all. If you do not understand, if you do not understand that we all have this, if you do not understand that every human being has this divinity within them, if you cannot slack off, well then, you're going to be stuck as Superwoman or Superman. And frightening visions will come. If you cannot loosen up, people will begin looking at you like, oh, there she is. There he is again. Mr. Buddha, Mr. Know-It-All, Mrs. Buddha, Mrs. Know-It-All. Yeah. And then you'll get paranoid. You can hear the humming and clicking of the machinery. Mocking laugh. Ha ha ha. There's Superman, there's Superwoman. Yeah. We become a super rope. This is the nasty period we all go through. We all go through this. Then we feel guilty. Oh, I'm a bad girl. Oh, I'm a stupid boy. Oh, I'm inadequate. Oh, paranoid nightmare. I'm no longer Superman. Oh yes, I was ego, dominated, game playing, selfish. Come on. Fear them. We all have these feelings, but blow them out. Look in your friend's eyes and laugh. Hey, you're okay. These are all your mental problems. I have them too. Remember, we all go through the third Bardo, where we think we are strong and then we think we are weak. We are struggling. We are struggling to re-enter, to go back to our own routine robot game. Zoom. We have to go back. We have to leave. The inner world of wonder and glory, chaotic brilliance. Sorry, we have to go back to Monday and Tuesday. You have to go back to the job. But let your re-entry to the real old world be smooth and slow. chill out. Uh-oh, here they come again. Uh-oh. My mind is twitching and jumping. Uh-oh, look out. Oh, I want my old ego. I want to go back. I want to go back. I don't want to be God. Yeah, that's it. Let your mind go. Yeah. That's good. Remember, we've all been everywhere. We have all danced with it. We have all boogied all night to the chaos beat. And we come. Oh, poor friend. Are you confused again and bewildered? Are you worried about your sanity? Uh-oh. You think that the visions are insane? Oh my God. Do you think you look at your fellow voyagers and friends and think that they don't understand you? You think, oh, I'm alone. I'm alienated. Help. What can I do? I'm having a bad trip. Poor me. I'm freaked out again. You may wonder, will you ever return? Will you ever return? You scream, help! Help! Get me a doctor! I want familiar places. I want to go back to my relatives, to the people I knew before. Okay, welcome. It's a bad trip. That's no problem. We all have bad trips. Don't worry about it. You learn more from these bad moments of struggle than you do from the moments of brilliant chaos, because we know that the universe is glorious and wonderful. It's the bad movements, the bad trips, the uptight moments, the third bardo, the fears, the little selfish worries. We all go through those too. What can you do? Trust your guide. Move your hand over. Hold your guide's friend. Hold your friend's hand. Trust your companion. Look in their eyes. Trust yourself. Trust the compassionate Buddha. The Buddha teaches us. Meditate calmly. Smile. Your friend remembers. These are normal signs of fear as you return to your robot ego.
There's nothing wrong with me. Maybe there's something wrong with the universe.
None of us like to go back. None of us like to be glorious, diamond, illuminated sunlight.
Let go of the anticipation, the expectations, demands upon yourself. Let it all go. Leave it behind.
Realm, illumination. Go back one more time.
We will be going beyond mathematics.
Don't struggle. The Buddha came back. the re-entry will happen. Turn the dial, turn it down, relax, recognize where you are. Remember where you've been. Recognition will lead you to be cool and free. Yeah. Look around, smile. The eyes of your companion, yeah. Smile. Wow! What a wild trip that was! Welcome back! Breathe in. Breathe out. What a wild trip that was. Welcome home. Welcome home. Welcome home. Hello again. This is Timothy Leary, back on planet Earth. This tape has just used the ancient techniques of the oral tradition, designed to guide the beginner to a typical psychedelic experience. Death, rebirth experience. For thousands of years, shaman, spiritual teachers have used classic, hypnotic, sound and light methods to liberate routine robot mind and to encourage new vision.
You must open yourself to time and space.
Now, we can use electrons, light waves, to communicate ancient teachings. This is high-tech Buddhism, high-tech Hinduism, high-tech Taoism, high-tech paganism, high-tech humanism. The aim of these tapes is to encourage and to empower you.
Now close your eyes.
Think for yourself, operate your own brain, activate and formate new reality designed by you.
Trust yourself.
This is the oldest and the newest religion of humanity. Lesson is, divinity lies within you. The next stage in human evolution is to learn how to operate our brains and to communicate the new global language of electrons. To use our brains to design new reality. We send this digital signal to you with deep love of all humans.
Traveler used his thoughts to alter warp fields. Thoughts became reality. Now I'm in a warp field. Could my thoughts change this reality?
I'm talking to you in front of the fireplace in the main living room of the Castelia Foundation. I am not speaking to you from a room of the 20th century. I am surrounded by objects and furnishings which would be more at home to a person from more ancient centuries, or perhaps from Oriental countries of the present time. The room is lit by candlelight. There are no chairs or tables, but colored mattresses, cushions. On the walls there are tapestries of faraway events and places. As I look out the window, I see lawns, fountains, a meditation house shrouded by pine trees, and behind it a meditation garden. This is the home of the Castelia Foundation, a center for research on the scientific and religious implications of consciousness-expanding drugs. This is a serene and beautiful place, inhabited by serene and serious-minded people who are dedicating their lives and their energies to expanding their consciousness and harmonizing with the energies inside and outside of their bodies. The situation here is not completely serene at the moment because this quiet island is under siege for the last few days, the last few weeks, the last few months. This peaceful surrounding has been surrounded by government agents, wiretappers, anxious and angry politicians. Why should this be? The reason for this siege of serenity is because I've gotten myself in trouble. I'm in trouble because I know too much. A few years ago, quite by accident, perhaps, I stumbled on the Philosopher's Stone. I had the veil of illusion pulled back and was confronted by the many levels of energy, the many realms of consciousness which are available to man. I opened the Pandora box of multiple reality. Now these are poetic metaphors for describing an ancient experience. I could just as well use more modern and scientific metaphors to describe how I got into trouble. I could say that by using psychedelic drugs, I became tuned in on the network of neurological signals and cellular wisdoms that radiate hundreds of millions per second within my body. In the last 6 years, I have taken the voyage out of my mind into my head, into my cells, over 300 times. Each time I've made this voyage, I've tried to communicate it to fellow voyagers and to my fellow men. Partly as a result of our experiences, at the present time, over 1 million Americans have had the experience of going beyond their mind into the eerie, shifting, pulsating world of energy systems within their own body. In addition to the million Americans who have taken psychedelic drugs such as LSD, there are hundreds of millions of other people who have heard this news. Hundreds of millions of people in this country, South America and Europe, who have been disturbed, fascinated, confused, irritated by the rumors about psychedelic drugs, their promise, their challenge, their perils. What are psychedelic drugs? The first thing to be said is that they're no new arrival on the human historical scene. Sacred plants and vegetables have been used for thousands of years, back to the dawn of human history, by wise men, medicine men, prophets, to expand man's mind. Today, in our technological society, we have produced dozens of chemicals which perform the same function. LSD, mescaline, dimethyltryptamine, psilocybin. There's a long litany of psychedelic chemicals, all of which, interestingly enough, are based on organic or botanical chemicals. And the powerful drugs which we now have to expand human consciousness are not the end. Each few months, the biochemists come up with a new molecule which talks directly, eloquently and powerfully to the human nervous system, opens it up and changes it. What do these ancient plants and modern drugs do to the human mind? They expand consciousness. What is consciousness? Consciousness is energy which is received and decoded by a physiological structure. There are as many levels of consciousness available to the human being as there are structures, anatomical organs inside the body for decoding different sorts of energies. Specifically and statistically, there are hundreds of levels of consciousness whirling around inside your nervous system and your cellular systems, each one a universe unto itself, with its own meaning, its own dialect, its own politics, its own ecstasies, its own terrors, its own concepts of union and disillusion. There are hundreds of universes of intelligent energy inside your body. For the beginning student in this new and bewildering science of conscious expansion, it's useful, I think, to consider 5 broad levels of consciousness. And anyone who wishes to think about or learn about the psychedelic drugs must keep something like this 5-point scale in mind, because each drug experience energizes and triggers off different levels of consciousness. The 5 levels of consciousness that I suggest you learn and eventually learn to use are sleep, symbolic consciousness, consciousness of the senses directly energized, the consciousness of cell, and the consciousness of precellular energy, molecular or atomic in nature. Sleep, symbol, sense, cell, molecule. Today, we Americans live in a drug-happy culture. Today, I would say that 90% of Americans are addicted to or dependent on some drug which alters consciousness. Think of the millions upon millions of Americans who depend upon tranquilizers, pep pills, alcohol, nicotine to get them through the trials and joys of each day. Whereas in other centuries, men debated and fought over symbols, the cross or the crescent, or which version of the Bible you read. Today, our biggest industries and our most vicious political quarrels seem to be generated by which drug do you use in order to make sense of the politics of conscious expanding drugs or consciousness contracting drugs. You must understand how specific drugs trigger off different levels of awareness. All of you know what happens when you take a heavy dose of a narcotic or of alcohol. You fall into a stupor. You escape to sleep. All of you know what normal symbolic consciousness is. We think of ourselves as human beings with tangible organs such as ears and fingers, eyes and feet. Actually, the human body is a collection of trillions of cells. Each cell in your body is a network of communication and intelligent energy much more complicated than the city of New York. Each cell in your body is performing tasks of communication, transportation, ingestion, elimination, defense, memory, and learning. Tasks which are millions or hundreds of millions of years old, which have not changed in many cycles of evolution. Within the nucleus of every cell in your body is contained a chain of protein molecules, which is called the DNA code. This is the blueprint of life. The DNA code is a biochemical electrical architect's office which designs and constructs every cell in your body and the overall patterning of your organs and tissues. Your DNA code was created by the codes of your mother and your father. You contain within every cell in your body a living chain of molecules, which is literally the chain of life.
which traces back an unbroken sequence to the beginning of life on this planet some 2 billion years ago. If one link in this chain of life had been broken in over 2 billion years, you and I would not be here today. During psychedelic sessions with drugs such as peyote, mescaline, psilocybin, and LSD, consciousness can contact the evolutionary wisdom which resides inside your cells, make connection with a living time machine which pulsates inside each cell. During the typical psychedelic drug session, the subject reports being tumbled through a compressed history of evolution. At 1 second, you lie pulsating as a single cell. In the next second, ancient memories of mammalian existence sweep over your consciousness. In the next second, 100 file card memories of other human lives spin through your projector in 1 instant. You were an old man, a young baby, a beautiful woman. Here is an eerie science fiction world, impossible to describe in words. It's as though God has taken you by the hand and led you through the door of sleep, through the door of symbol, through the door of senses, into the heart of his workshop, relentless, timeless, tissue machinery, clicking, unfolding, changing, spinning out organic forms, constantly evolving. The most powerful of the psychedelic lenses presently available to us, the most powerful experience which has been described in human history, is the 5th level of consciousness. The universe of pure energy, vibration, pulsating rhythms, far older, far more powerful, far wiser than the cell, are those energies, molecular and atomic, which lay at the far outskirts of human awareness. During any 1 second of an LSD session, consciousness can whirl through all 5 levels: sleep, symbol, sense, cell, and soul. 1,000 microscopes, 1,000 telescopes, 1,000 blindfolds, 1,000 symbols spinning through awareness at each instant. The LSD experience cannot be understood as anything but a philosophic confrontation. What is real? A spinning universe of realities, of varying space and time dimensions. What is the effect of this rocket voyage through the nervous system and the cellular terrain? Terror, reverence, cosmic laughter, awe, ecstasy, but mainly confusion. The average American is no more equipped to confront and understand the energies which reside inside his body than a week-old baby is able to understand and use a computer. You are the week-old baby, and the computer is your brain. At the present time, the human race finds itself at a paradoxical evolutionary crossroad. There now exists a plenitude of molecules, psychedelic drugs and chemicals which can dramatically accelerate and expand consciousness. But where is the wisdom and the technical know-how to understand and control these potentialities? My first psychedelic experience occurred in Mexico in 1960. At that time, I was a whiskey-drinking, cigarette-smoking, symbol-addicted psychologist. I ate 7 of the sacred mushrooms of Mexico. And within a half hour, was spun into a psychological laboratory, 2 billion years old, which laughed at my pretensions at predictive knowledge. Since that time, 6 years ago, I have done almost nothing but attempt to understand and communicate this experience. Shortly thereafter, I returned to Harvard University and gave psychedelic drugs to some 300 professors, graduate students, writers, and philosophers. 75% of these people reported the most revelatory and educational experience of their lives. We gave these drugs to 36 prisoners who looked at the cops and robbers game through the brutal microscope of expanded consciousness and laughed and gave up crime. We gave these drugs to over 200 professional religious people, 2/3 of whom reported the deepest religious experience of their lives. But each single case, person taking LSD, however positive, generated 100 rumors, for the most part negative. Our society, materialistic, technological, symbol addicted, is made uneasy by the thought of people turning inward. Drugs, the terror word of the 20th century. But let's face this issue of drugs bluntly and factually. The embarrassing truth is that consciousness is a chemical phenomenon. Everything that you have ever experienced experienced because of a chemical reaction in your nervous system. Memory is a chemical process. Learning is a chemical process. Stupidity is a chemical process. Stupor is a chemical process. Normal awareness is a chemical process. The language of your body is the language of molecules. Retina of your eye, the delicate membrane of your ear, your cells, your tissue cell do not speak English or Latin, French. They are designed, they have been designed, like a 2 billion year process of trial and error to receive, decode, and send out a language which is chemical. Perhaps the mystery and the fear itself which surrounds the word drugs is due to the fact that he who deals with symbols deals with changing and structure. But he who deals with chemicals tampers with the basic power and energy of life. Thus come the rumors of danger. Psychedelic drugs, they threaten the solidity and durability of our stereotype. That's all they endanger. The facts of the matter are that psychedelic drugs such as marijuana, peyote, and LSD are not addictive. It's the blindfolds and the escape drugs that are addictive. Neither do these drugs incite to crime, heroin, and alcohol are the triggers to antisocial behavior. The man with a microscope in his eye may be confused. He may stumble. He may cry out. In ecstasy or alarm. But he's got too much going on inside of him to be concerned with pushing other people around. There has never been a case of a smoker or an LSD taker who has put a whiskey drinker in jail. These days, there is an avalanche of publicity about the effects of marijuana and LSD. My advice is don't listen to any of the propaganda, whether it's positive or negative. Don't believe what you read in the papers, and don't listen to general statements. It's time of hysteria, crisis. We must do what men have always done at such time. This record is a message to young people, to people under the age of 25, and certainly to people under the age of 40. If you're over the age of 40, I'm not sure that you should listen to this record. What I'm going to say might make you mad. I don't like to get people mad. I particularly don't like to get people over the age of 40 mad, because these are the people who have guns and handcuffs and prisons, a wide variety of instruments of metal with which they punish people who get them mad. Young people, for the most part, aren't so concerned with control and power. They're much more involved in having fun, being curious, exploring their sensual equipment, making adventurous exploration, making love, trying to learn what it's all about. I have personal experience which has taught me how fierce people over 40 can be with those who challenge their beliefs. Down in Texas, there are a group of men over 40 who got so mad at what I'm saying that they sentenced me to prison for 30 years. And up here in New York State, there are another group of men over 40 who want to put me in jail for another 16 years for saying the sort of things I'm going to say on this record. I'm cutting this tape on the 3rd floor of the Castelia Foundation in Millbrook, New York. The Castelia Foundation is a psychedelic center, a place for consciousness expansion, a spiritual retreat, a center for experimentation in the use of psychedelic or mind-opening drugs. As you would expect from a place designed to produce beautiful experiences, the Castelia Foundation is located in a beautiful spot. I can look down on acres of green lawn. Down there on the left, underneath the trees, I can see a meditation house, a one-room jewel box, where people go for a few days or a week at a time to live in silence, cut off from the pressure of the world. Turn on, tune in to their inner possibilities. Just beyond the meditation house, there's an iron gate which leads down stone stairs to a meditation garden. There's a huge maple tree, 20 feet in diameter, ponderous, stately limbs. About 15 feet up in the tree is a tree house, lashed with spider web roping. Beautiful elven girl with golden hair is living there this week. Beyond the tree, there's an apple orchard. and an organic garden. Farther out around the house, there are meadows, sacred groves, pine forests, waterfalls, brooks. The main house itself is 4 stories. It has slanting copper roofs. At different seasons and at different times of the day and night, we lie on the green roofs and watch the sunrise or the sunset or the full moon come up over the eastern trees. There's a red chimney which runs 5 stories, facing south, and on the chimney there are painted the interwoven triangles, the seal of Solomon, a sacred symbol found over every Vishnu temple in India. This is one of the oldest symbols in human history. 1,000 of years, men who've studied the expansion of consciousness and the meaning of the inner life have used this symbol to indicate the merging of opposites to make the new, the merging of man and woman, of dark and light, of electron and proton, of winter and summer. The outdoors is set up for LSD sessions because the LSD experience is too powerful, too organic, too ancient to be contained within rooms and houses made by man. There are many shrines inside the great house. In fact, almost every room in the house is designed to produce a specific turn-on. There are several rooms specifically designed for the sensory enhancement which is created by marijuana. Many of the rooms are designed for those sacred ceremonies which can only occur between man and woman, seeking to deepen and enrich their communion. And there are other rooms designed to produce a psychedelic experience by the use of light, color, and sound. I belong to an ancient trade union of spiritual teachers, scholars of consciousness, who prefer to work not in lecture halls or recording studios, but far away from cities and symbols, with small groups of people, exploring without the pressure of time and space, the endless realms within. If I had my way, and when I had my way, I would invite anyone who wished to devote his time to the inner quest to join me in a center such as this, and we would learn together and experience together how to reach the 5 levels of consciousness which are available to a species like ours. And our particular repertoire of cellular and neurological equipment. I would teach you how to sleep consciously, how to use symbols consciously and aesthetically, how to enhance and intensify your senses, how to contact the ancient wisdom of yourself, and how to reach those flashing energies which exist inside your body, which men for thousands of years have called the inner light. Such a program is not an idle fantasy. In the summer of 1962 and 63, with a group of 40 Harvard graduate students and young professional people, I participated in such a training program in a small fishing village in Mexico. We'd rented a hotel there, which was a mile away from town, on a dead-end road. The hotel was a series of cottages scattered along a cliff, with a long, winding stone staircase leading down to the beach. Private beach which stretched a mile down the ribbon of surf and sand. Life in our center there was entirely out of doors. The air was clear and scented with a salt breeze and the perfume of flowers which grew up the cliff. People wore bathing suits and shorts and went barefoot. The food we ate came from the bay in front of us or from the fields which grew behind the hotel. Nothing came in wax containers or plastic boxes. There was no electricity. At night from the beach, you looked up and saw a continuous dance of moving candles. There were no clocks, except that every 15 seconds surf broke a mile down the beach and came cannonading along the strand. The ticking of an ancient timepiece, which ourselves had been listening to millions of years before clocks were invented. The main business of this center was the taking of LSD. On any day, 1/3 of the people present would be sitting on the beach or crowded around a table on the open dining patio, planning a session that they were going to have that night. While another third would be hidden in the session room or wandering far down in the sand in the middle of an LSD session. And another third would be clustered in odd and bedazed groups, reporting on and recording session they've just finished. There's a lot of rain in the Mexican summer, and almost every afternoon, late, and every evening, a brief thunderstorm would pass over the bay. Lightning would crackle down. The beach, the ocean, and the surrounding hill would flash into lightning view. The night sessions would usually end in the water as the LSD voyagers float out to watch the first rays of the sunrise. In addition to being a sensory paradise and a spiritual oasis, the center in Mexico was productive and profitable. Scientific reports were written, articles published. The center paid its own way. But eventually, this gentle and harmonious way of life came to the attention of the police, a group of people who were not especially dedicated to growth, pleasure, and spiritual discovery. The center was closed, and the group dispersed. There's one interesting sidelight on the deportation proceedings. Of the 3 Secret Service agents from Mexico City closed the center, one was under 30 years old. I got to know him fairly well because he was intensely curious about what we were doing and what we were experiencing. He had a Cuban girlfriend and used to smoke marijuana with her. He also had a brother who was the governor of another state in Mexico. And after checking our books and interviewing our members, he took me aside and said, "Senor Leary, you have going here the greatest gold mine that the tourist business has ever seen. All of your guests feel that you are not charging enough money, and none of them ever want to leave your hotel. Come to my brother's state, and we will find a hotel, and let me be your partner." That was our summer of pilgrim wandering. We wandered from Mexico down through the Caribbean to the French islands, the British islands, looking for 1 square mile of ground on this planet where we could live quietly, expand our own consciousness, contribute handsomely to the country in which we live. But such a place was not to be found, free from political or religious interruption. If today I could find 1 square mile of ground on this planet, there would be several 100,000 people who would be willing and eager to join our exploration. But no such place seems to exist. For the first time in human history, there seems to be no land of exile or immigration where groups of people sharing unpopular spiritual beliefs and practices can remove to live in peace. Our own country, you remember, was founded by exactly such small groups of religious exile. Why is it that every generation forgets this lesson of the past? Why is it that each generation harasses and persecutes its gentlest, wisest, and holiest men? Exactly those men that succeeding generations will revere. The answer to this question has nothing to do with intelligence, or social prejudice, or conservatism. The answer is neurological. The nervous system of the adult human being is so set up that it registers intense neurological pain when confronted with an idea or method which liberates man from his addiction to symbols, from his addiction to the current tribal symbol system. Early in the life of every mammal, the first few days, as a matter of fact, the nervous system focuses on a nearby object that moves and makes noise, and around this imprinted object, the conditioned symbol system that comprises the discriminating, perceiving, and executing mind. Most human beings, in the early days of their life, have imprinted a moving, noise-making event, which they call mother. And upon this imprint, they base their conception of what is right and real and true. Almost everyone is painfully afraid of displeasing mother, is painfully shocked by confronting an idea or method which can liberate consciousness from the original imprinted chessboard. President Eisenhower ran this country in such a way as to avoid displeasing his mother. He ran a small town store in Iowa. President Johnson maps out national and international policies designed to please his mother. Defense Secretary McNamara moves millions of men and machines in such a way to please a mother who must have indeed been an extremely tidy and efficient woman. But who is a mother afraid of? Mother is afraid of grandmother, and grandmother imprinted her chessboard of values and realities about 100 years ago. Now here we come to my problem as a spiritual teacher in 1966. I can turn you, the younger generation, on to your own spiritual potentialities. But if I do so, I get in trouble with your parents. But that's not completely hopeless, because I can also teach you how to turn on your parents and gently and lovingly open them up to some of their possibilities. But the hitch here is that your parents are imprinted on grandmother, and grandmother is dead, and I can't turn her on. About 6 years ago, after my first series of psychedelic sessions, I realized that it was within my power to select and play almost any game, or even to deal myself out of games entirely. I decided at that time that the game I wanted to play was to become the holiest and wisest man of my generation. Specifically, to expand and elevate the consciousness of the entire human race. Now this may sound like a surprising ambition, but I don't see why. If you can select any game, why not pick the most exciting and challenging game around? With full knowledge, of course, the knowledge that comes from a contemplative series of LSD sessions, that all human games end in a tie, and that the chances of succeeding in any human game are always statistically dubious. After 6 years of trying to become the holiest and wisest man of my generation, I'm ready to make a progress report. The way it looks from here, I have about 1 chance in 10 of reaching my goal. It still looks like a good gamble to me. In the last 6 years, we have witnessed an astonishing expansion and elevation of human consciousness in this country, and an equally predictable reaction of panic and anguish against this psychedelic revolution. When we started researching the use and benefits of psychedelic drugs at Harvard 6 years ago, we ran into a puzzling situation. We discovered very early in the game that we could predict the reaction of anyone we talked to about LSD by knowing one thing about the other person, and that was his age. The competent and distinguished psychologists and philosophers at Harvard, exactly those men whom you would expect would be most entranced and delighted at a new tool for studying consciousness, responded with boredom, impatience, and irritation at our reports about the psychedelic experience. The graduate students were interested and eager to do research in this new field. The undergraduates were enthusiastic and unstoppable in their search for this experience. And what was most shocking and dangerous to my safety and tenure at Harvard is the fact that high school kids were the most interested of all. We thought about this situation for some time, and then reached the obvious solution. Of course, what we were running into was the oldest law in the history of human knowledge. It always takes 1 generation for a new idea to become accepted. The imprinted symbol systems of the older generation cannot tolerate and indeed shriek with neurological pain at any idea or method which promises to change the game. Since we had no desire to cause pain, we redirected our communication and deliberately chose to beam our message to the younger generation. In the imprinted symbol system of mother and anyone over the age of 40, the word drug means two things: drug, doctor, disease, or drug, dope fiend, crime. No amount of reason, logic, or experimental evidence is going to change this deeply conditioned reflex. On the other hand, to people under the age of 25, the word drug means a wide variety of possibilities. Drug can mean fun, energy to study for a test, ecstasy, enjoyment of music, enhancement of the senses, religious revelation, expansion of consciousness, acceleration of learning. For the last few months, I have been lecturing to audiences about the psychochemical revolution. I pointed out that almost every neurological laboratory in the country is working with some chemical which can accelerate learning, expand consciousness, enhance memory, increase creativity. I tell these audiences that in the future, the question will be asked, not what book do you read, but which molecules are you using in your learning process? As I make these predictions, I watch the face of the audience. I see the men over 40 frown, amazement and irritation. Is this fool suggesting that our college students become dope addicts? And I watch the faces of the young people saying, sure, where can we get it? When do we start? Any pioneer in the field of knowledge must, if he's going to retain his sanity and good humor, remember the lesson of history. It takes one generation for a new breakthrough to become absorbed in you. The young graduate students and psychiatric residents who were working on our project 6 years ago have now moved up to positions of responsibility in the universities and clinics. The undergraduates are now just about ready to take over, and the high school students of 6 years ago are now graduate students. The next 6 years will be a period of dramatic change in regard to the social acceptance of such psychedelic drugs as marijuana and LSD. By 1970, we'll have our first LSD congressman and our first marijuana smoking judges. You can see this slowly evolving change taking place right now. The New York Times, which used to be considered a liberal magazine, is written by lovely, dignified gentlemen in their 50s who are horrified and confused by the psychedelic revolution. New York Daily News, which considered a highly conservative right-wing newspaper, takes a breezy, open, and amused posture towards LSD and marijuana. Why? Because the average news reporter is in his 30s. Over 1/3 of the researchers and editorial assistants on Life magazine have smoked marijuana or used LSD, and by 1970 this figure will have doubled. But now that the psychedelic battle has been won, where do we go next? What should be the goals and strategies of the psychedelic generation? I have 3 things to say to young people who are growing up in a psychedelic world. Turn on, tune in, and drop out. First, let me tell you about turning on. There are as many levels of consciousness as there are anatomical structures in your body for receiving and decoding energy. The 5 most important levels of consciousness are sleep, symbol, sense, cellular awareness, and molecular consciousness. Each of these levels of consciousness is based on anatomical structures in your body, and each level is attained through chemical means. In the future, the educated man will be the one who can move his consciousness deliberately, planfully, and precisely from one level to another for specific, harmonious purposes. The religion of the future will be based, as were the religions of the past, on the human body and the myriad wonders within its temple. Any external event which distracts you from learning how to understand and use the machinery of consciousness within your body is irreverent and irrelevant. Within the temple of your body, there are hundreds of shrines, each of which can produce a revelatory and ecstatic experience, which is unique and meaningful in its own right. Psychochemicals are the instruments of the new knowledge and the sacraments of the new religion. But do not be deceived. The yoga of drugs is the most complicated, difficult, and demanding discipline of them all. Our present adult culture is based on 2 levels of consciousness and uses drugs promiscuously and lavishly to produce these 2 levels of consciousness: sleep and symbolic game-playing awareness. The average American knows how to put himself in a state of somnambulance and stupor by using our most popular drugs, barbiturates, tranquilizers, and alcohol, all of which are addictive, narcotic, and toxic substances. They dope you, and they can kill you. The average American is heavily addicted to the symbolic level of consciousness, hooked to external, tribal patterns, which he calls normal reality. The average American uses drugs to put his consciousness in a state of symbolic game playing. The first thing he does in the morning is take coffee or caffeine. The American who's involved in hectic, demanding game playing sequences takes an energizer. At 5 o'clock, with symbols and symbolic sequences whizzing around his head, the average American rushes home and puts himself in a mild state of stupor with alcohol. Drugs which stupefy and drugs which energize are simple, coarse, and vulgar procedures. They require no sensitivity, training, or skill. Chemicals which open up the mind, accelerate mental activity, and deepen consciousness demand lengthy training and disciplined, systematic study. Marijuana, for example, is a chemical which enhances the sensory level of consciousness. Marijuana is used to tune out the symbolic game, to turn on the senses. The retina of the eye quivers as light hurtles into it at the speed of 186,000 miles a second. The delicate membrane of the ear trembles to the dance of sound waves. This is why marijuana adepts turn on before they go to a museum or to a flower garden, or why musicians have for many years used cannabis as an enhancer of their auditory sensibility and their musical creativity. It is also well known that marijuana enlivens the senses of taste, and touch, and smell. Just mention food to the novice smoking marijuana, and he suddenly discovers he is ravenously hungry and that food has never tasted quite so good before. Of course not, because eating to the symbol addict is like fueling a car, but to the person turned on with marijuana, each grain of food sets off grenade explosions of sensation in the taste buds of the tongue. The aspect of marijuana which is most frightening to a prudish, puritanical culture or to an impotent generation is the enhancement of the tactile sense. Marijuana is a powerful intensifier of the sexual experience. This does not mean that marijuana leads to sexual activity. I would estimate that there is less sexual activity during marijuana sessions than in drinking bouts, but the sexual moments are exponentially expanded in the direction of heightened receptivity. Alcohol, of course, is the drug which leads to sexual excesses. It is well known that alcohol is the easiest instrument for seducing a woman. You load her up and roll her over. But the problem with alcohol as a sexual instrument is that the morning after, neither you nor she remembers much about what happened the night before. And that may be merciful, because what you would remember is a crude, brutal, fumbling sexual encounter, which is best forgotten. By contrast, the sexual union under marijuana is a slow, rhythmic, mythic, highly ceremonial, unfolding, and unifying. I would say that very few of the millions of Americans who smoke marijuana know how to use this delicate and subtle instrument. Most marijuana is smoked in highly stylized cult situations, which fail to take into account the sensory and intimate nature of the experience. I predict that in the next 10 years, we will see dozens of manuals outlining methods for harmonizing the intersection of external energy and sense organs by the use of marijuana. But the training and sensitivity required for the use of marijuana is nothing compared to the knowledge and preparation required for the harmonious use of the stronger psychedelic drugs, such as LSD. Of all the methods of conscious expansion, education, and spiritual growth developed by man in the last 4,000 years, the most demanding, most challenging is LSD. LSD and similar drugs are direct chemical keys to the ancient texts of cellular wisdom. They put one in direct contact with RNA and possibly DNA species wisdoms which have been stored up for some 2 billion years. I have taken LSD 311 times. Each time I have found the experience awesome and awful. What I have learned from these many voyages is the humiliating lesson. There is more to learn about the body than I could grasp in 1,000 lifetimes. Each second of an LSD experience renders one a baby crawling on hands and knees in 1,000 Smithsonian institutes and libraries of Congress, all built into each cell of your body. Lesson number 1 then is turn on. Until you have made contact with the wisdom within the temple of your body, all your external activities are those of a robot, performing stylized but automatic motion. Lesson number 2 is tune in. Begin to harness the energies which you are releasing to a harmonious exchange with the external environment. Take LSD and then look at your house. You will see, as someone from another planet would see, that you are living in the home of an insane robot. Slowly and planfully, you begin to change your house so that it becomes an external representation of the beauties you are discovering within yourself. As you continue to listen to the wisdom of your cells and to the direct energy explosions on your nerve endings, you will find yourself systematically altering where you live, with whom you spend your time, and what you allow to contact your nerve ending. You will find yourself moving out of stereotype routine, moving out of cities, moving away repetitious, tribally imposed sequences. You will find yourself slowly dropping out. As you tune in through turning on, you will realize that you belong to a new and mutational species who are sharing this planet with a highly energetic, rather destructive, tragically robot species, namely the older generation. Every baby that is born is a mutant. Every baby is the genetic code's newest and most creative answer to the problem of adapting to the other forms of life and energy on this planet. A generation of adults, human society, attempts systematically to block this mutant promise. Your job is to drop out, to planfully, lovingly, gracefully detach yourself from the insane rituals and social pressures which surround you. You cannot drop out externally until you have detached yourself internally. You must leave your job. You must leave your school. You must leave the city. You must leave all your social connections, which do not make sense to your sense organs and yourself. You cannot do this alone in acts of isolated rebellion. Detaching yourself from the insanity of society requires group action. Your cells will tell you that you are a primate, a tribal animal, one who moves in groups of packs. No man can escape the prison of robot society by himself. Once you have tuned in by turning on, you will see that it's easy to leave the game. You have been born into an insane asylum, and it is simple and obvious to take advantage of the insanity around you to make your escape. One of the most obvious symptoms of the current social insanity is man's lemming-like rush to the cities. Take advantage of this insanity. You will find within 3 hours' drive from any American city, deserted towns, deserted farmhouses, vast regions, forest, meadow, and farmland, which can be rented or bought. As the insane society of adults around you rushes to enslave itself to machines, you will find an increasing market for craftsman-like work, or for the production of articles which are too beautiful or too private to be made on mass assembly line. But not in rebellion. Drop out by tuning in. As you drop out, you will find that you do nothing which is not an act of beauty. And this is how you will make your living. Because nothing made by a machine can please the sense organ of a human being, or can make sense to the cellular wisdom inside a human being. Every time in the last few weeks that I've repeated this message, turn on, tune in, and drop out, I have been besieged by entreaties from my middle-aged friends. You can't say that, they tell me. But what I am saying is not reckless advice. It happens to be the oldest message of human wisdom. Look within, find your own divinity, detach yourself from social and material struggle. What is reckless is the American education system today, which puts young people on a mass assembly line geared to produce robots. American education does neurological damage. Schools and colleges in this country are designed and supported by parents who wish their children to become like them, which means like grandmother. One final word to the young people who listen to this record. Be cool. Remember, overt rebellion is part of the game. Be cool. Evolution is a silent, invisible process. When the first young amphibians began to slither out of the water, they didn't print manifestos or join picket lines. They did it in small, private, loving groups. The wisdom of yourselves will tell you that the work of evolution does not involve political action. Remember, too, to be kind. Do not frighten your parents unnecessarily. Turn on your parents. I don't mean drop LSD sugar cubes in their coffee cups. Start turning them on at the first level of the psychedelic hierarchy. Turn them on sensually. You see your mother as a symbolic creature, which is actually a bundle of millions and millions of sense organs, sensory cells. However symbol-addicted mother may be, she's basically a living organism with billions of neural cameras tuned to external energy. Don't use symbols to frighten her. Don't upset her symbol system. Go to visit her and delight her sense of smell with a flower. Delight her sense of taste with a new food. Delight her sense of sound with the rhythm and harmony of your voice. Turn her on without drugs. Be cool. Be kind. Turn on. Tune in. Drop out.
Millions of dollars would be spent on LSD research at universities throughout the country, and word would begin to spread on campus about this so-called mind-blowing drug. And suddenly, there was the counterculture of the 60s.
I give the CIA a total credit for sponsoring and initiating the entire consciousness movement, counterculture event in the 1960s.
Dr. Timothy Leary, the 1960s Johnny Appleseed of LSD.
The CIA funded, supported, and encouraged young psychiatrists to experiment with this drug. From that was that the young psychologists began taking it themselves, discovering that it was an intelligence and consciousness-raising experience.
I know that some of the studies in which CIA had supported used as subjects people who later became strong proselytizers of LSD. So in that sense, yes, I think that did sustain the situation of the use of the drug. And it's rather ironic, isn't it?
We tell young people today, drop out of school, because schools, education today, is the worst narcotic drug of all. Don't politic, don't vote. These are old men's games. Impotent and senile old men that want to put you onto their old chess games of war and power. Drop out. Tune in with natural things. Take off your shoes. Get back in tune with God's harmony. Surround yourself with beauty and sacred objects. You can't get caught in the conforming, rote, lockstep, which we call American society.
Dr. Leary, what are you up to here?
We teach the science and art of ecstasy. We teach people to turn on or to go out of their minds. By turn on, we mean tune in, to get beyond your routine ways of thinking and acting and experiencing. And say that we're teaching people how to use their head. The point is that in order to use your head, you have to go out of your mind. You have to go out of all of the static, symbolic ways in which you think. No.
The function of a performing philosopher is not to try to sell you on any brand name of philosophy. I have no dogma. I have no favorite cause here. I have one cause, and that's the goal of a performing philosopher, is to encourage you and inspire you and empower you, to the extent I can, to think for yourself and question authority. Now, the way I'm going to try to do that tonight is I'm going to try to, it's all the language. We are, as the French semioticians tell us, we're shackled by our language. We're imprisoned by our language, by ideas. And so what I'm going to try to do is to, with as much clarity as I can summon here, and zap on and to laser and to warm up and to buzz and to tickle and to stimulate the shackles of language that are tying you to any particular religion or any particular political party. Now, it is true that if you take on this role of urging people to think for themselves and question authority, y'all can get in trouble that way. And that's part of the game, you know. Most people, see, don't want to change. Most people are doing the best they can. They've been entrapped by their parents and their language and by the language of their society. They don't, you know, and they're discouraged from thinking for yourself. That's the key. How many of us in our growing years were encouraged to think for ourselves and question authority and come out with new ideas? You know, the aim of the game, until Dr. Spock came along in 1946, which created the 60s, by the way. Dr. Spock was the first person that told parents, hey, your job is to teach your kids to be individuals and to encourage your kids to be individuals and to treat your kids as individuals. Gee, when he said that, that's the most subversive statement you can make. Talk about anarchy, forget it. When you teach kids to be individuals, you're undercutting every religion and every organization and every political dogmatic system. So through world history, no matter whether you're left, right, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, everybody who had an organization agreed you had to take kids and get them to line. The kids are little wogs, little animals. You got to get them with a carrot and a whip. You got to get them to conform and join the pack. This moment in world history, as we leave the industrial society, move on to the post-industrial society,
It's not only your pleasure to think to yourself, it's your duty. You got to think for yourself in the information age.
As you may know, I practice a profession for which there is no real name. What I have been doing for 40 years is practice the psychology of individual freedom. It's my job to corrupt young people with the contagious, infectious idea of individual freedom. It's my job to encourage you and to empower you to think for yourself, question authorities. CIA and the military that brought LSD to America. Authorities. They wanted to drop LSD in the Russian Moscow water supply, reducing the Russians into loving Buddhas. Question authorities. Question authorities. One individual, electrons in his hand, can bring down an empire. You want to keep things moving, you should free the elements. Free the elements. Some people call that chaos. Any reality is an opinion. You make up your own reality. Wow. Reality is an opinion. You're equipped with 100 billion neuron brain that's wired and fired, and it's a reality generating device. But you've got to do it. You've got to do it. I have probably used my brain, explored my brain, operated my brain, navigated my brain. From psychedelics to cybernetics, my brain has been inundated. My brain has been through a lot. Wow. In this new electronic cyberspace technology, there's no limit to imagination. Everybody gets the drug they deserve, everyone gets the God they deserve, and everyone gets the electrons they deserve. Go for it all. Any reality is an opinion. You make up your own reality. Wow.
Think for yourself. Question authority. Think for yourself. Question authority. Throughout human history, as our species has faced the frightening, terrorizing fact that we do not know who we are or where we're going in this ocean of chaos, it has been the authorities, the political, the religious, the educational authorities who attempted to comfort us by giving us order, rules, regulations, forming in our minds their view of reality. To think for yourself, you must question authority and learn how to put yourself in a state of vulnerable, open-mindedness, chaotic, confused vulnerability to inform yourself. Think for yourself, question authority, think for yourself, question authority. The LSD trip is a pilgrimage far out beyond your normal mind into that risky and revelatory territory which has been explored for thousands of years by mystics and visionary philosophers. In the last year, we are told that perhaps 1 million Americans, most of them young people, have made the LSD experience part of their lives. Is this a social menace and a cause for alarm? I don't think so. I see nothing less than the speedy evolution of a new indigenous religion. The LSD religionist knows that the temple of worship is the human body, that the shrine must be located not in a public place, but in the privacy of your own home, and that the congregation cannot extend beyond family and your closest friends. In 15 years, the high school and college students who are experimenting with LSD will be running many of our institutions and guiding public policy. Remember, the college students who are using LSD and marijuana today do not comprise a criminal class. They are not drug addicts seeking to escape. They are your best educated, your most creative, and your most courageous young people. And like it or not, they're going to build you a new civilization. Sen en boş olsun.